So also new in Map360 2021 is a new orbit control. And it's very powerful. It's quite easy to use. There are some limitations based on what you're trying to do with it, but for the most part, you simply just use it. So a shortcut is to use your shift key and your middle mouse, and what that'll do is if you're not hovering over an object, it'll just do its best attempt at trying to rotate your scene around so that you can, rotate and see the objects you want. And, the pan still works like it normally does. If you hover over a 3D face, so in this case, let's say this wall here, it'll intersect the closest place on that model and rotate around it. So like here, if I move to this near this corner, you'll see it rotates around that corner of the building, and then you can pan over. So it's quite intelligent that way. So again, that works on 3D faces. So not only on the walls, but on this vehicle, you see there it's rotating on the door. Or if I hover here, I'm rotating on the hood or on the roof of the car. And even these 3D objects that are inserted here in this room. So that's how it works when you click on surfaces. If I turn off the rendering mode here, so now I've just got the line entities, you can still rotate around them, but what it'll do is it'll snap sort of to the midpoints or endpoints of objects. So on this line here, you'll see it's even showing a snap marker that it's going to snap to the end point of the line. So just know that it allows you to snap to objects. So that's the shift middle mouse control. You can use a manual version of it. So when you click on that, you're now in the orbit mode, so you can't really do anything else but orbit and pan. And what this will do is it will honor your snaps that you have set. So here I've got endpoint. Let's pick midpoint, just so you can see what it's doing. So there I'm snapping to the endpoint of that line. And so now I'm just using the left mouse button to rotate around. So sometimes this can be useful if you're wanting to just move around in a scene by just snapping onto entities. So here, that's the end point. I've got a midpoint snap, so now I'm rotating around the midpoint. Just note that on some models, like our protected models, the snaps currently, that'll be improved in a future version, don't work on it. So if you're wanting to rotate around an object, you need to turn on your realistic mode, and then you can click on the object. And you can turn realistic on and off while you're still in that command. It's not going to boot you out. So that's how it works with CAD entities. I'm now going to close this and open up point cloud. So when you're inside a point cloud, you need to have the node snap on. And now if I hold my shift middle click, it'll find the nearest point of where you're clicking. So there I'm rotating around the chair, or if I wanted to rotate around the corner of this room here where the fireplace is, I can. So you can see this allows you to move around quite easily. And wherever your cursor is, if you zoom in with your mouse, it's going to zoom towards where you're pointing your mouse, even in perspective mode. So that's a big improvement over the previous version of Map360. So this lets you have quite fine control of how you want to rotate around in your point cloud. Again, you can use the manual version of that. So here, I'm just using my left mouse button, so you can see here I'm just looking around and rotating around my point cloud, and that's how the orbit tools work.